So I'm back in Canada with the S14 Shell visiting Tyson. I was so excited to come work on race cars, which today looks like using a drywall filled shop vac to clean puddles out of a freshly cleaned car, which is actually very clean, and I'm excited about that. So we're gonna get to some stuff today and kind of start planning our build.
So what you're gonna do today, though?
Yes! Yes!
You're cutting the first hole.
Yeah! Yeah!
I don't know how much of that was on. You have to believe it, but yeah. You're gonna cut the front and the back end off the car.
Oh, this is the best. This is the best.
I was like unsure if you were gonna enjoy that or not, but I don't know why I doubted.
So Tyson told me he had a surprise for me. And I was like, okay. The surprise is that I get to cut the car right now, which I'm stoked for. So yeah, we're just planning that out, basically where the cuts are going to be and what the plan is. And he's in charge. Looks like you just made out with it.
No. There, we'll do along this.
So you've met me, right? Like you know how well I can follow a straight line.
Straight.
Straight is not really in my.
Don't worry. I'll probably be touching up some of these. I'm leaving some margin because I am not even 100% where I want it exactly. But before you slaughter it,
When the butcher is drawing on the pig, do they draw on the pig before they slaughter them?
they used to. I don't know.
Really?
Yeah.
Before they were dead?
Sometimes.
Why?
So they knew where they're cut.
They can't figure that out when it's dead?
I don't know. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. I don't know.
I feel like you just made that up. I was actually thinking to myself how sad I was that I wasn't going to get to be a part of the cutting. Man, I wonder if I should fly back for when they cut it, because I just really want to be a part of the cutting. I just like cutting stuff.
Because I don't know, with the damage, I don't know exactly where we want to be, so I'll just cut it open and find out.
Okay.
Alrighty. So yeah, we're gonna leave some meat on the bone just to make sure we don't overcut anything that we want. But cut it here. Per the FD rule book, we're gonna leave this point. You're not allowed to cut behind this. We're allowed to cut to the strut power, but we're not allowed to cut ahead of this suspension mounting point. So we'll cut that there, and do not cut the tension rods because we don't have other ones. Also, per the FD rule book, we're allowed to cut the cat hump out of these cars. All the S13 and S14s have this nasty seat mounting problem for a catalytic converter, but we don't have catalytic converters on a race car, so that can go. The entire tunnel can go. Although we're going to leave a lip back here, but other than that, it's going to be gone. And then in the back, basically this entire, like, I don't know if we can get this out in one piece, but it'd be cool if we could. This entire back piece is going to go, and then the car's maybe not going to sit on the hoist the same way after it loses all that.
We should be prepared for it to not.
I don't know if you noticed when it was on the dolly.
Yeah, it was
side,
cocked.
Well, it was leaning. The driveway is a bit of a hill, but the dolly literally had to be as far back as I could get it, or the thing kept falling on its butt. So there's a lot of weight back here to get going. And then while you're cutting that, I'm going to remove the parcel shelf tray, whatever thingy, for the spot weld drilling kit set.
Neat.
And we'll see where the day takes us after that.
All right. funny is I'm like completely unable to work on a car with my arms over my head. Because I was like, oh, so I'll just lie down under there because that's how I know how to work on a car. This is really just to say, look how no rust it has.
Yeah, like I don't like fixing rust. I've done it. It's one of the worst jobs on a car, especially these like old Japanese cars, like my RX-7 for example. They're always rusty, but there's a couple surface spots, and that's it. Maybe when we start taking down some of the undercoating, but like there's.
I don't think so.
There's so minimal. Like whatever the FD rulebook allows us to cut, I'm doing it. I want every inch of making that trans tunnel easier and accessible and less hammering.
You want every inch, I got it.
Yeah.
I've never set up a car that was like for me ergonomically, right? Like Taka being like, hey, can you even see out the window of the Z? And like my handbrake position, all that stuff was like set up by somebody else who kind of went, it should go here, and didn't think about my anatomy or anything else. And I really noticed that on the last show I was working on, where the handbrake was really, really far away and like the leverage was impossible, and I ended up actually injuring myself from like chronic strain. But like there's all this little stuff, right? Like if you have to compensate by leaning forward to look when you need to look, or you know, the handbrake is not in the perfect position, it like adds up to these microseconds or like whole seconds of response time. So
well, even if you're just not comfortable in the car, you perform better when you're comfortable in the car, and it becomes like an extension of your body instead of, I don't know, what do you consider it now?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, a thing I'm operating, as opposed to like when you ride a motorcycle, it feels like a part of you.
This is a spot weld drilling bit.
Yeah.
So it's a really sharp cutter and a spring-loaded pointy tip. Take your punch down tool, you make a mark in the middle of the spot weld, and then you put the drill tip into the hole you just made with the punch down, and then I found the best way to do this is you hit it with the drill spinning really fast and very, very light effort until it's cutting, and once it makes like a hole saw looking hole. How come whenever I do it on camera is when it doesn't work? And then take your hammer and chisel. You just pop a perfect circle that is way easier to like. Once you're like, if you look at this side where I've already started, you're ending up with all these little discs, but it's like a minute with a flat disc instead of cutting all these off and grinding off the whole bracket and yada yada. And it just looks really cool when you're done. This is just like I'll angle grind just these little bits off with the thing, just to get the tray out, and then I think the bottom will have to be a similar cut just to get this tray out, and then here, same thing as on the other car, we're only keeping a tiny little piece of this.
So this bye-bye, like up to this edge, like where does this cut stop?
Yeah, it goes to this edge, and if you're gonna sawzall and not feel comfortable, just add a bit and we'll do an angle grinder later, but cut all this off, and then cut on the inside too. This is another piece, but cut all this on the inside around this seam down, and the whole trunk will fall off, come out the front end.
Love it. All right. Front fell off. I think that's still good. Let there be light. That's so satisfying.
What a lot of people do is they cut all of this out and then you just collect tire rubber and your car lights on fire. It's not a good look. We don't like fire. We've had enough of fire.
I mean, we like small fires that go out. They look cool.
Small fires that go out and are controlled.
Yeah. I'm having a really fun time.
Are you?
Yes. What's not to like? This is like, you're not supposed to do this.
This is the high satisfaction.
This is all the tasks I like. It's loud, it's tools, it's dopamine because the change is quick. Someone else planned it. Literally the smartest thing I can think of.
Pretty good. 3 and 3 to do all that.
Like, what are we doing here?
This is how race cars are born.
Okay.
We cut all the parts of the car that make it look like a car off,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then we remake them again out of other stuff.
Fiberglass and that's it.
Interesting.
I mean, this part was pretty dented in, so
Yes,
really
yeah.
we have to cut it off to fix it.
Right.
And then we just like glue it back on.
Something like that.
Yeah.
The metal glue.
I had no idea what we were doing. I thought I was just checking in on the car, and then I was vacuuming out water, and I was not having a great time. And he said, "You're gonna cut the car apart," and I was like, "Mad." So that's what we did. This is the post-cut tour.
Post-cut tour?
Post-cut tour.
I mean, it's basically
The same.
slaughter. Just,
I think the only thing we didn't mention was cutting for the fuel cell, but
yeah, which I wasn't gonna do, and then it happened.
he just tripped and cut a hole in the car.
Something like that, yeah. Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to cut more.
Mm-hmm.
But
Some rough cuts anyway.
yeah, it's all rough cuts.
So crazy. Car's all cut, so what's next? What's the next step?
Oh.
Go home, but like what happens the next episode?
Well, we did the rough cutting. We now need to like go back and final everything. Like obviously there's a lot of jagged edges and stuff that needs to be cut further, but we pretty much need to start measuring and mocking up where things are going. Like the fuel cell cut, the fuel cell needs to go in the spot and figure out how much height I have from the diff.
Mm-hmm.
And then once that's done, then we can build the back firewall, build a crash structure off the rear stroke, do the same thing on the front, do the roll cage in the interior, do the seating position a little bit so that we can figure out the floor and like the handbrake mount, the steering mount, the pedal mount, the all the
pizza.
things. Sorry?
The pizza.
The pizza, butter chicken coming back. But yeah, once the seating position is kind of the next big thing to figure out, and once that's where we want it, then it all kind of falls in place after that. Like wherever you figure is comfortable for XYZ, then I measure that, mark it down, and then build it. Then before I finalize everything, you probably come back. So yeah, when is the next time you're?
Well, it'll be next month.
Next month?
Yeah.